Hello students, welcome once again. Now in this section we have an exponential equation over here. Now we have to find all the solution of s to the power 4 plus 3s cubed plus s cubed plus s squared plus s plus 1 being equal to 0. So we have to find all the possible value of x. So let's quickly do that. So we have solution here. Now what we are going to do now is to divide all side by s squared to make the equation look very easier, and we will see why we are dividing all by s squared. So we have s to the power 4 plus s cubed plus s squared plus x plus 1 being equal to 0. We divide here by s squared, s squared, s squared, s squared, s squared, right, and here also. So this will cater for that, this goes away and we just have that, this cancels that, this goes away, and then so what we are left with is just s squared plus x here plus 1 over x plus so over here we just have sorry, over here we have just 1, then we have just 1 over x here plus 1 over s squared being equal to 0. So we're just going to, so we just have 1 over s squared. So what we are going to do next is just to group like terms, s squared here, right? So we have s squared plus 1 over s squared, then we have x here and then 1 over x here, x plus 1 over x here, then we have plus 1 here being equal to 0, right? So we have group like terms here. All right, so this is what we have now. Since we have group like terms, now if we look at x plus 1 over x here, we can write something similar to this, right? So it's just by when we square the whole of this, so squaring the whole of this, x plus 1 over x here, we're just going to get s squared plus 2, right, then plus 1 over s squared, right? So you can see that we have the s squared, we have 1 over x, which is looks similar to this, but then we have plus 2 over here. So what do? We can just subtract minus 2 from this side, so that plus 2 minus 2 will just go away, and then it's just going to look similar, right? So this is what we are going to do. So let's put the s plus 2 plus 1 over s squared here for this part, right, plus s plus 1, which means that we have this, right, and then we have plus 1, which is here. So since we have plus 2 here, then let's subtract here, right, and then this is just equal to 0. So we are just going to subtract minus 2 from here, so that minus 2 plus 2 will just go away, and then we are back to our initial equation over here, when plus 2 and then minus 2 cancels itself, and we just have the equation back, right? So since we can do this, then we can write this whole thing here, s squared plus 2 plus 1 over x, which is this, as that. So we have s plus 1 over x here squared, and then we still have our s plus 1 over x here, right? Over here we are going to subtract, so we are just left with -1 being equal to 0, right? Okay, so from here let's continue here. So from here, what we are going to do is that we are going to equate a variable to, since we have x over 1 over x, s over 1 over x here, we are just going to let a variable, let's say, let y here be equal to the x plus 1 over x here, right? So we substitute this into that, we have y squared plus y here minus 1 equal to 0. Now we have a quadratic equation over here, so we are going to solve the quadratic equation. Now we can solve this easily, so what we are going to use, that we are going to use the quadratic formula, right? We are going to use the quadratic formula here, which is just y here being equal to minus plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, minus 4ac here, right, being divided by 2a. Now if you look at the equation over here, our a here is just 1, our b here is just 1, and then c here is just negative 1, right? Coefficient of y squared here is just 1, the coefficient of y here is just 1, and then c here is just negative 1, right? Okay, so this is what we are going to substitute this into the general equation to get the values of y. Then after we get the values of y, we are going to substitute it back into the assumption we made over here to get the values of x, right? So in the first part, we are just going to get y here minus so let's just separate them, plus b squared minus 4ac here all over 2a, and then also y here being equal to minus b here minus square root of b squared minus 4ac being over 2, right? So we have the first part here. Now b here is just positive 1, so we have negative 1 plus the square root of b squared is just 1 minus 4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by negative 1, so we are going to have positive 4 here, right, being divided by 2 multiplied by 1 is just 2, and then the second part we have minus 1 minus the square root of b squared is just 1, so we have 1, and then we are going to have positive 4 here being divided by 2, yeah, so this is what we have, and then y here is just equal to negative 1 plus square root of 5 divided by 2, and then y here equal to negative 1, and then we have 5 divided by 2. So these are the values of y that we are going to get, right? And then what we are going to do next is, since we said that let y equal to x plus 1 over x here, we are just going to do the substitution to get the values of x, right? So the values of x here is what we are going to find now. Now we have the first, so let's take the first part. So let's call this y1 and let's call this y2. So for y1 we have y1 being equal to x plus 1 over x, and then y2 here being equal to s plus 1 over x, right? Our y1 we had 1 plus square root of 5 over 2 here, right? 5 over 2 here, right, being equal to x plus 1 over x here, right? Then y2 is just so a negative 1 minus 5 here divided by 2 being equal to x plus 1 over x here, right? So we have y1 and then y2. So what we are going to do is just to simplify this. So simplifying that, we just multiply outside by x, right? So and then we group like items. So simplifying and grouping like items, we are just going to get something like s squared here, right? This goes to the other side. We have negative into bracket 1 plus square root of 5 here divided by 2, and this is with respect to x, and then we have plus 1, so that will be the first part, and then with this second part we just have s squared minus into bracket minus 1 minus square root of 5 divided by 2 here plus 1, and then we have the 2 over here. So we have another quadratic equation over here that we have to solve using the quadratic formula, but I'm just going to write the answers down since this video is too long, so we have x1 is just going to be negative 1 plus square root of 5 divided by 4 plus I 1 plus 2 root 5 here being divided by 4. That will be x1. That is for the first part. So let's call this s1 and then s2. The first part, this is s1 and s2. This is 3 and 4. We are going to get 4 possible values of x. So we have the second part being negative 1 plus square root of 5 here divided by 4. Then this time it's just going to be minus I square root of 10 plus 2 root 5 here, right, divided by 4. And then s3 here will just also be equal to negative 1 minus root 5 divided by 4. And then we have minus I here square root of 10. So the first part will be positive, so we have 2 root 5 and then divided by 4, right? So that's for the s3. Now for the s4, we are just going to get s4 here being equal to it's just the same thing, but then the positive we just change to negative square root of 10 plus 2 root 5. I mean, you can try solving this, right? So with the equation we had over here, with these two equations we have over here, now to get your x1 and s2, you can try using the quadratic formula, where for the first part which we had for the first part which we had is 1 plus square root of 5 divided by 2s plus 1, right, equal to 0. You can try using the quadratic formula again, the one I quoted earlier. So you can use a being equal to 1, the coefficient of is 1 here, and then b here will just be the whole of this. So let's multiply through. So we have 1 minus square root of 5 here, and then over 2 here, right, and then c here will just be 1, right. That is for the first part. Now for the second part, we had s squared minus 1 minus root 5 here, right, divided by 2 x plus 1 being equal to 0. So something like this. You can also try solving the third and the fourth possible of values of s that we had, where a is just coefficient of s squared is 1 here, and over here b here will just be 1 plus square root of 5 here, right, divided by 2, and then so that will be for b, and then c here is just 1. So with these two equations here, you can use the quadratic formula to go through, and then at the end of the day you are going to get the positive values of x here. So the one we had here, this, that, and then the first part here, right. So thank you very much for joining me in this section. I hope this session was helpful. If you're able to solve this, you can leave it at the comment section, and then if you are new here, please like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell to be notified anytime we post any videos. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in another section.